Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight for a tip for Woohoo Weekend. I have the mini cut and emboss, which is a perfect size to have on your desk to take with you. I think I'm going to turn it this way. But you can see it just looks like the big one. It's just small and it's portable. And we've got lots of dies that are small enough to use it. These are the Cottage Rose dies, and I think they are wonderful. You might remember that I love dies that cut out the detailed outline. I just think they're very showy when you get them on a card. But I do have a couple of tips for number one, making it a little more stable, and what you do if it's not cutting properly. You've got spots that are not cutting all the way through. So the first tip, how to keep it in place. Another nice thing about it is it's very, very lightweight. So lightweight that I find that on my counter in the kitchen and different places that it actually slips around and moves too much for me. Yeah, I'm one of those goofy people who likes things that are a little heavier and stay in place. So if you pull in your silicone mat and you put your Stampin' Cut and Emboss on top of it, the little mini, it's not going to slide around as much. And I don't have anything here taped down. So let's do that. It's going to come with a base plate, the number one. Two, and mine are well used, cutting plates. One for the top, one for the bottom. You have the number three is the embossing folder. The one, this is the, number three is the standard embossing folder. And number four is if you have a 3D embossing folder, because we have embossing folders that fit these cute little machines. So let's try one. I put in one, plate two. I have got something that's going to go on our card today. So I thought we'd cut that first. Just put it down. Now you can use washi tape to hold the die in place if you want to, but I have found that they haven't been slipping on me. Maybe because they're so small and I'm being very careful. I don't like to fuss with my plates, so I like to put them in matchy-matchy at the ends. But if you're having trouble running it through, then you can offset them just a little bit. So the top number two plate goes in last. So here we have an element for our card in a little bit. So I'm going to put that aside. And what I did, and I don't know, sometimes I get a little carried away. I was having so much fun cutting these that I have lots and lots and lots. But I wanted to show you how pretty these are cut. Now, every once in a while, I have found that I might have, this is soft succulent paper, by the way. I might have a die that doesn't cut through quite as nicely as I would like. There might be a spot that's not quite cut. Oh, there we go. And the detailed dies I like to run through a couple of times. Then I take it off. And I'm pretty careful when I take it off because I want to make sure it's cut all the way through. So I'm going to look at the other side. And yep, this one is cut all the way through. Now, what would I do? And you know my little trick. Throw it down on the counter or the table. Get as much out as you can. Then take your pick tool. And you can poke anything out that didn't get poked out. And here we are. Isn't that lovely? I just really like these dies. And as I said, I was having a lot of fun. I've got a lot cut in soft succulent and pale papaya, which are the colors I'm using today. Sorry, you couldn't see that. I was just poking out little bits and pieces. So here we go. We have this done. Now, if that had not cut all the way, what I would have done is I would have taken it. So if I looked and it didn't look right, like it was all going to come out, and I would love to be able to show you that on person, but these dies are cutting so well that I haven't had one happen. Let's see if I can push that back a little bit. So I'm going to put it down. So how do I explain? The roller that's going to cut is up at the top, and you're going to get the best pressure if you're having difficulty cutting it with the blade down, with the die down. Then just take it, put it in place, and turn it upside down so it cuts into the top plate. And that's a little harder to see. That's why this is not my go-to position. But here we are. And it really does cut through just a little bit. It gets a little bit more pressure. So it is a very efficient way to cut through your die and your paper. See how well everything just kind of came apart? It just has that little bit more pressure. So those are my tips. The silicone mat for me is a game changer because as I said, I don't like things that move around when they're supposed to be stationary. And a lot of times if I'm working here at my table, I'm sitting down, not standing up. So I don't have that pressure on the top. Anyway, those are my tips. The mini cut and emboss is now one of my favorite tools. And I hope that you enjoy it too. And if you have any problems with cutting dies, just flip them over so that the cutting edge is at the top. And I will see you in a few minutes for the video.